Okay, I was actually born in Thomas Hospital, right across town, and grew up in Fairhope. Left in ninth grade and went to the Alabama School of Fine Arts in Birmingham, and then on to college from there. And so married, and we were gone for about 30 years, and then came home. And in looking for a school for my daughter, who was our last child at home, I found St. Michael. We had been in Aniana, Alabama, and she had gone through K through 12 in the same school, and I couldn't pick her up and plop her down somewhere else in a big public school. And so I found St. Michael, and they happened to need an English teacher, and that's how I ended up here. Before then, I had taught at UAB for 17 years. And much to my dismay, came to understand that the university was not where God wanted me to be, that he was really asking me to step out of that and step into high school teaching. It's not anything I ever thought I would do. I thought I would teach adults. But I just came to understand that there was something that I had to offer that was not being tapped into at the university level. And a position came open in the county where we were living, and I applied and accepted the job and taught at Locust Fork High School for 2 years. And then when my husband and I lost our fathers, we decided we needed to come to South Alabama to be with our mothers. And that's how I found St. Michael and this position here. I never wanted to do anything but teach. It took me a long time to figure out what level I really wanted to teach. I have loved the move to high school. It's much harder than teaching at the university level, much harder. But the reward is tremendous. And I am able to build relationships with students and with parents and with a community that I couldn't do while I was at the university level. I got into bowling because Coach Knepstein sent out an email that said, "We need somebody to coach the bowling team." And I had taken a bowling class while I was at Auburn, so I knew a little bit about bowling. And it was right after COVID, and I needed a way to reconnect with students after having been out of the classroom with them. I really wanted to rediscover those personalities and reconnect with the students at St. Michael, and I thought that moving into coaching would be a way to accomplish that. I called together a group of students who had been on the bowling team the year before, and I said, "You guys, I'm going to do this, but I have no idea what I'm doing, so you guys have to teach me." And I don't know if that's the right way to go about it, but it's what happened. And I ended up with two players who were two seniors who were incredibly helpful. One of them has been an athlete forever, doing multiple sports since he was little, and couldn't join the team until after football season because he was a starter on the football team. And then the other one was a young lady who no athletic background at all except for the bowling team. And the two of them sat down with me and explained the processes that they had used in the past. They told me what they liked and what they didn't like about how things had been done in the past. They offered suggestions for some changes that we could make that might make the experience more valuable both to them in improving their skills and in enjoying their experiences on the bowling team. And then I went to the organizational meeting. We have a region, an area leader that I don't know what his official title is, who's responsible for getting all of the bowling coaches together, and we sit down on a Saturday morning at a bowling alley and we schedule all of our matches, and so we schedule the season together. And those gentlemen who are coaches at our area schools were incredible. They helped me understand how the matches worked. They helped me understand some of the logistics that you had to worry about with practices, and making sure that you had this communication with the alley where you were going to have your practices and your matches, and they were fantastic. Those guys gave me access to every resource they had, and between them, the two seniors, and YouTube, I somehow got myself ready, and we hit the ground running with practices, and have had a great time with it. I joined a bowling league, and I've been in a bowling league ever since I started with bowling. So I am exposing myself to learning the processes, right? I have to be able to teach these kids how to bowl. I am learning how to bowl. So I take what I'm learning and I share it with the athletes on my team. So not only do I go through the same processes that I ask my students to, I meet people in the bowling leagues who love bowling. They tell me what it is about bowling that they love, what it is about bowling that has gotten them excited. As I'm learning about bowling, I have that same excitement. And so then not only can I pass the skills of the sport onto my athletes, I have gained an excitement about the sport that I can pass to my athletes. And so I would say, if you're going into a sport that you don't know enough about to be responsible for coaching a team, which I certainly did not know enough about bowling to be responsible for coaching a team, is to find people who love the sport and dump yourself into the middle of those people and let those people who know the sport and love the sport share that enthusiasm with you, so that then you can share it with the kids on the team. I thought it was something that a bunch of white guys did on Tuesday nights while they got drunk. That's what I thought it was. And what I've found is there's definitely a group that fits that description, but there's also this delightful world that I had no idea existed. My bowling league night is absolutely the most diverse hours of my week. We have range from a 10-year-old to, I guess she must be in her late 70s, maybe even early 80s. We have all faiths, we have all religion, all races, and it is so much fun to go out and encounter this breadth of humanity that I have been so blown away by coming to understand that this is a sport that draws all kinds of people, and because of the type of sport it is, You can have a 10-year-old on a team with a 78-year-old. And I think that has been, for me, acquainting myself with the sport, that has been the most delightful aspect of encountering bowling, is just seeing how many different kinds of people love it. It's a great place for people who are not drawn to other athletic avenues to get to participate in an extracurricular activity. I don't think that a lot of the people, the students who have been attracted to bowling would label themselves as athletes. And I'm sorry that they don't, because what does an athlete do? An athlete identifies a set of skills, physical skills. They practice to achieve those skills. They practice to perfect those skills, and then they offer those skills in a competitive environment. That's a sport. That's what athletes do. That's what we do in bowling. And I think bowling has gotten a reputation that it is a fun place. I hope to build on that and make it is a fun place for athletes because I want the students and the community to view what these students are doing, what these athletes are doing as an athletic endeavor. Because it is also a lot of fun, it has grown. The interest has grown. Students are being drawn. The players talk about it. They talk about how much fun it is. They talk about how it is an acceptable environment for people who are really good, but if you're not very good, that's okay too. And so the interest in bowling has grown. And we had a big tryout last year, and I'm anticipating that tryouts this year will be as big. And you may want to check me on this, but I believe bowling is the fastest growing varsity sport in high schools. It was at one time. I don't know if it still is, so you may want to check that. So there's like an interest in bowling that's out from outside the school, but then the athletes on the bowling team, there's no doubt they enjoy what they're doing, and so they are drawing in interest. One of the things that I was really excited about last year was the number of freshmen who tried out for the bowling team and who played on the bowling team. Because if we can draw freshmen into the program and keep them through the program, then ultimately St. Michael is going to have a bowling program that's competitive. And you combine that with the bowling coach actually learning what she needs to do to offer a bowling program, we will be competitive, and I'm looking forward to that. I need a player, and I think this is probably common across all sports. I need a player who will listen to the suggestions that I have. That I have had a little bit of headbutting, which is okay. When I say, do it this way, and the player, well, I've been doing it this way ever since I started bowling. Okay, but you see the result you're getting doing it this way? That's not the result we want, so do it this way. And so I think that the most important quality is coachability. And like I said, I think that goes across all sports, that I need players who are willing to listen to suggestions. And that's hard when the players know that I don't have like this long history of bowling. I didn't bowl in college. I didn't, I don't have this long history in bowling. But that doesn't mean that I haven't learned a lot since I have assumed responsibility. I have a lot more to learn, no question about that. But I have learned a lot about this sport and a lot about how you become successful in this sport. And I think that the students who are willing to listen and to say, okay, I'll give it a try, and then when they're not successful that first time, to give it a try again. And when they're not successful that second time, to give it a try again, and to really kind of stick with it until the muscle memory that is so important in bowling kind of clicks for them. That they have to be willing to trust the suggestions. And those athletes are the ones who improve. I think one of the most interesting stories, for lack of a better word, to kind of come out of the St. Michael experience is how quickly this community became a community. And I think that is has a lot to do with the early faculty that Mr. Weber hired, the commitment of the families from the very beginning, not to what was here, but to what would be here, if that makes any sense. And I think that it has been very interesting to me to see how you took people from all over this county and created, they have made themselves the St. Michael family. And even for an outsider, I'm not Catholic, I have been away from Baldwin County for, decades. When I came back, it was a very different community than what I left. A very different community. And when I came back, it was building a relationship with the St. Michael family and being welcomed into the St. Michael family that made me feel like I was coming home. And I think that the way the families committed themselves to this school early on, it's just astounding to me. Because like I said, they didn't commit themselves to what was here. They committed themselves to what would be here. And I am thrilled for those early families to see how St. Michael has grown in just the short amount of time that the school has been here. And not only have we grown in terms of number of students and how much property we own, but we have grown in the education that we are delivering to these families. St. Michael provides a great education for these young people. And I think that that's an amazing story. I want to take a minute and ask you to give me the platform to thank the athletes who have been on the bowling team with me for the past 2 seasons. those students were willing to put themselves in my hands and allow me to learn about a sport, about them, about myself, about coaching, when they didn't have to come out and trust that I would give them something that was worth their time. Because it's a lot of time that they spend devoting themselves to this sport. And I want to thank those athletes. I want to thank them for coming in and saying, yeah, I'll give it a go. We'll see how it goes. and I would ask that any of the students who are interested in it next year will come and do the same thing. Let's see how it goes. I am not at the point where I can promise, area championships. I'm not at the point where I can say, let's go to state. We're not there yet. But I can say, let's try. Let's go. Let's see what we can do when we work together. You know how when you break it down, everybody puts their hands in and you break it down. You go Cardinals, you win on 3, whatever. It was always my favorite thing that my athletes wanted to break it down with. I love you on 3. I love you on 3. 1, 2, 3. I love you. And as silly as that may seem, and as unathletic as that may seem, because they loved each other, because they loved me, and because I loved all of them, we were able to make something that wouldn't have been otherwise. And I just thank those kids for that. They worked hard, and we did improve. We were right there with the boys team last year. We competed last year, and it wasn't because they have a fantastic coach. It was because they came and they were willing to work. And I just want to thank those kids for that. I love you on 3. 1, 2, 3. I love you. The championships, they're great. They're fantastic. But my goal is connection. My goal is relationship. And if those relationships ultimately result in championships, that's fantastic. But right now, where we are with this program, like I said, it's probably not the coach thing to say, but the relationship is the goal. And win or lose results from that. I'm going to call it a win if at the end of the season, that's how my kids want to end the season, with an I love you. That's a win.